Hey guys, so this is a video for Jared, and I'm actually cooking while I make this. Let's see, my kids are around, so let's see if this can happen. But Jared had a question about teaching in Japan, and Jared is he's a teacher right now, an English teacher in South Korea, and he said that basically, you know, it's just time. He feels it's time for him to. He said he's got a good situation in Korea, but it's kind of time for him to move on to something else. And he was thinking about Japan, maybe Kyoto or Osaka. So Jared said that basically his experience, he's got a BA, and he's got 2 years of experience, and he also has a TESOL certification, which actually, now he said he's often passed on Japan because he heard it's very oversaturated and very competitive, which it is really competitive to get a job as a teacher even in Japan. But that's more so the case for people who don't have any experience. So if you do want to teach here, you do have to have a degree. That's true. That's just the way it is. Just a rule to get a visa, teaching visa. Gotta have a degree. There's no way around that. A lot of people always ask me that. Is there a way I can get around it? No. If you really feel passionate about coming to Japan, go get a degree. Maybe easier said than done, but yeah. So Jared, in his situation, he's got 2 years experience. So that's actually going to be pretty helpful for him. It sounds like he teaches in public schools, so he should be able to get a position as an ALT. Teacher. So what I would do if I were you, Jared, start looking around now. The hiring season, the main hiring season in Japan is December and January. Even like now, the end of November, December, January. That's for the new school year begins at the beginning of April. So that's really when the job boards fill up. Aside from that, the rest of the year, it can be quite tough to find a job because the pickings are kind of slim during the school year. So what I would do, start looking around. Go to a great resource is gaijinpot.com. Go to gaijinpot.com. Almost every job I've ever had in Japan I got through that website. And start surfing around, start seeing what you're interested in. Now the typical starting pay for an English teacher in Japan is about 250,000 yen a month. That's about 2.4 million won a month. But a couple of things to think about. Unlike Korea, where schools will fly you there, they will give you an apartment, a free apartment. That doesn't happen here. In Japan, you're going to have to pay for your own apartment. Now, your school might help you find it, but you're going to have to pay for it and everything. Yeah, so again, you know, you do seem to have definitely qualifications. I'm sure you could find a job as an ALT, an assistant language teacher in a public school, no problem. You know, start looking now, start looking around. Is Japan fun? Japan is very fun. I lived in both countries. I lived in Korea for 5 years. I've been in Japan for about 6. I was single when I lived in Korea. I had a very different kind of lifestyle. But Japan is a lot of fun, man. It's awesome. It's an awesome place. I don't know how you get bored. The history's great. The culture's great. It's a lot of fun. So, Jared, start looking around. You know, keep in mind you probably should have some money saved before you come here because you're gonna have to find your own apartment. You're gonna have to pay for your own apartment. Possibly put down key money. There are certain apartments, different companies that are places where you don't have to put down key money. They're more kind of foreigner friendly if you're in a bigger city. In a small area, that might not be so easy. And start looking around. Now, just to let you know, the bigger the city, the more competitive it may be. But to be honest, the most competitive scene is in Tokyo. The most competitive scene is Tokyo because everyone seems to want to go to Tokyo. You know, I always like to joke that there's Tokyo, then there's the rest of Japan. So yeah, you got good qualifications, Jared. You got a degree, you got a TESOL certificate, which is really going to help you, and you've got a couple of years of experience, which is really going to help you. So you know, make sure you can talk about lesson planning in an interview. Make sure you can talk about different classroom experiences you've had. Make sure you can answer questions about dealing with native teachers, so teachers who are like, say, you know, the Korean teachers you worked with, problem-solving situations, dealing with cultural, how should I say, cultural frustrations, things like that. And yeah, I think you're all set. But yeah, so of course I always suggest to anyone, you know, I lived in Korea, now I live in Japan. To be honest, I enjoy life in Japan a lot more. Even if I'm married with a family, but even if I was a single guy in this kind of same situation, I think I would enjoy more. Just I kind of enjoy I enjoy many aspects of like the history, the culture. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Korea as well, but yeah, so come on over, and there you go. I hope that helped Jared, you, or anyone else that they're watching. Remember, like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, check all the links below in the description box, especially check out my podcast, the Just Japan podcast, everything you want to know about Japan. Jared, there's another thing, check out my podcast, go through the back catalog. I've done some episodes about teaching in Japan. I think you could definitely find something very valuable in there. All right, later guys, Kevin here in Japan.